All right, let's get started. Let's get started. Let's get started. Let's get. Welcome to today. I know it's 5:57 p.m. on a Wednesday, and we're live. And what we're going to talk about today is a pep talk, dope pep talk today. Where, listen, I get it. I get it. Oh, maybe that's why my stuff doesn't work. We're gonna figure it out. I'm trying to figure this out too. But listen, it's going to right now. It is on YouTube. So if you want to go to YouTube right now, you can see the live version of this. Otherwise, we're gonna just tape it and then come back to it and go from there. Uh, my name is Dr. McGee. I am a principal, a mentor, a coach, a speaker. I'm a professional life changer, and today what we're going to talk about is a pep talk. Like I really want to give people a pep talk because sometimes you just need that little bit of information, that little push, that little word that's going to help you get through your get through. Now here's the thing. I don't always know what you're going through. The thing is I have an idea because I've been working in schools, families and communities for over 20 years. I've been doing this work, hands on the ground, 10 toes down, standing on business, loving, supporting, encouraging, nurturing, cultivating schools. Some of your favorite teachers, man, I've been in the trenches, man, trying to working with them, working for them, and doing this work. And now I know that there are moments and times where you just need a pep talk, right? It is Wednesday, it's hump day, it's the middle of the week, and it might be tough right now. It's a full moon outside, and are probably getting crazy. We're like week 9 into the school year, so if you are an educator, you might be in the fields, in your fields, not the fields, because it is harvest season. In your fields, if you are uh, a leader in the buildings, you might be in your fields. You might be feeling some kind of way. As a parent, you might be feeling some kind of way about school and how it's going. Your child might not be in the right class. Your child's struggling because of behavior issues. You're not getting along with the teacher or the principal. You in your fields. You might be a support staff and you doing everything you can. Nobody's even noticing you. They don't even know you're there. You're not being acknowledged. Your value is not being lifted up and put in front. You have permission to feel. You have absolutely permission to feel. And if that's all you need, and thank you. And, you know, I appreciate you for being here. But what I'm saying is you have permission to feel. You have permission to feel. And so today we're going to talk about that. That's the pep talk for today. You have permission to feel. And so this is a book right here that I've read this book, and I don't know where mine is. It's somewhere. But you going through it, man. And as a professional, sometimes you might not be in a position to share your emotions all the time. Or you don't know how to with the staff that you have. Or you might not even be a feeling person. Feeling might not be your thing. You know, you might have grown up in a family where you guys just swept your emotions under the table and just made sure you were consistent. You might be in a family where the emotions run high and everybody has something to say. And that's a lot. But you have permission to feel. You don't have to push your feelings down. You don't have to suppress your feelings. And you can express your feelings. What you don't have permission to do is to be immature about it and overdo it and dominate people with your feelings and your emotions. Mm-mm. That's not how you grow and get better. That just causes disruptions amongst family members. It causes disruptions in the classroom. If you're an educator, amongst your colleagues, it causes issues and problems. So how do you manage the emotions that you have? So this book really helps on that. It says, hey, you have permission to feel. Dr. Mark Brackett wrote this book. I'm not sure when he wrote it, but he wrote this book, and I saw it and I was like, ooh, this makes sense to me. He says, permission to feel, the power of emotional intelligence to achieve well-being and success. And if you are a leader, if you are leading people, you are leading organizations, you're leading in a school, you're leading in a classroom or in your family, I'm telling you, you have to figure out how to master emotions and communicate those emotions and receive those emotions, because your environment is going to change. And emotions are going to come to the surface somehow, some way, some shape, and in some form. And what we're saying is you do have permission to feel. Now, I'm speaking specifically to people right now. This might not apply to you right now, might not. But there are a lot of people who suppress their emotions, who don't express their emotions when they get angry, when they're happy, when they're sad, when they're disgruntled. Oh, there was words for it. And we need to express our words. So I'm gonna go through a few things today, and because I believe that you have permission to feel. Like you absolutely do, and you can be upset. I'm a former principal, so man, I'm telling you, as a principal, sometimes you just have to put your emotions to the back burner because you had to get things done, and that's okay. And as a parent, you got to put your emotions to the back burner sometimes and get things done. And so my man Mark Brackett, I don't know him, but he said you have permission to feel. So one of the things I do want to share with you is that he has this framework on thinking about feelings. And one of the things that we want to, like, he has this framework called the ruler framework. The ruler framework. And the ruler framework simply talks about these things here. All right, you can see these things. I'm trying to get out of the way. The ruler framework. I'm trying to put structure to it so you know how to do it. Because I can tell you have permission. You're like, thank you. Somebody said it. You have permission to feel. So he talks about these things. He says the ruler framework says the R for rulers recognize the emotion in self and others. Recognize the emotions that you have in yourself. Can you feel yourself getting angry? And when you do, what do? Can you feel yourself starting to fall back into sadness? How do you recognize the emotions in yourself? But as a leader, how do you recognize them in others? Now, one of the things I do want to say is that everybody's a leader. So you're going to have to understand that about me, is that I believe that everybody's a leader. I do. Everybody is a leader. I don't care what you do. And if you're not leading anybody and they ain't following you, you are leading yourself. So when we're talking about emotions, if you're not even focused on other people and their emotions and being emotionally intelligent, have some self-knowledge of your emotions. Self-knowledge. So recognize those emotions. What else we got here? Understand the causes and consequences of emotions. You have to figure out how to understand the consequences. The causes. What's causing it? Especially us in school. When we're in school, scholars come to the table. They come to school. They come to the classroom, sometimes already on 10 because they've been yelled at all morning. I know it. I'm a father. I've done it. Screaming at the kids because you're trying to get them ready. You're giving them explicit instruction and they're still not doing it. Or they don't have the urgency. We got 5 minutes to get. Why are you still hot? You just don't care? Especially if you have multiple kids. Now, one being late is going to impact everybody else. And that becomes a problem. You have to understand the causes and the consequences of emotions. I said earlier, you don't have the right to be so angry that you're getting violent. You don't have the right to be so hurt that you start hurting others. That's not okay. You don't have a right to do that. So you need to understand the consequences of that. Fathers, I'm going to talk to fathers right now. I want you to ask your kids this question. When things are in a good mood, ask them, hey, tell me one thing that daddy does that you really don't like. And see what they say. See what emotions they talk about coming to the surface. That bothers them. But ask them. They will tell you. I promise you. All right, here we go. Labeling emotions accurately. You got to be able to label these emotions accurately, right? So Oh, my bad. In order to label some of these emotions, sometimes we have to look at this mood meter, right? You got to be able to. I'm gonna go back to the understanding. You got to understand where you are first. Where are you on this mood meter? So Dr. Brackett came up with this. I believe this is in his research. I can't find my book though, but he talks about this mood meter, and you have low energy, high energy, and on the bottom axis, you have this pleasantness. How pleasant are you? And there's these quadrants. Most of us educators know how these quadrants work. So you look and say, where am I on this meter here? Where am I? Am I have a low pleasantness and low energy? I'm in this blue quadrant. But if I have a high energy and high pleasantness, oh, I'm in this yellow area. So I want you to check this out. This is something you can look up, the mood meter, and that might help you understand where you are. The next thing we talked about was labeling the emotions. Listen, there are so many words that you can use to describe how you feel. We have to move beyond mad, sad, angry, happy, right? I feel safe. Come on. I'm ecstatic. I feel guilty. These are all emotions. There are so many emotions that we can tie it to. Listen, instead of being angry, listen, I'm terrified. But that's why I'm operating like this and acting like this and feeling like this. These are resources that you can use to help with your child, help with yourself to start to express how you're feeling. Because we talked about labeling the emotions accurately. Depressed and sadness aren't the same thing. Frustrated and angry aren't the same thing. Come on, leader. You have to be able to manage these things and do these things in a way that's going to be helpful to you and to what you're doing. So, okay, expressing emotions appropriately. We talked about this. You can't go over here just being mad at everybody and everybody got to feel the fire of your flame and your wrath. That's not fair. It's not fair. And just because you're sad and having a bad time and your boyfriend broke up with you doesn't mean that everybody has to be brought down. Or if you're in a classroom and you're teaching, you're upset with your principal, it doesn't mean that you get to go around and start bringing all this to every other staff member and now bringing down the morale of your department or your hallway wing or your school. Because you might have influence. And now the way that you're feeling personally is now starting to permeate to other people. So expressing your emotions appropriately. And then the last one for the ruler is regulating emotions effectively. Regulate your emotions effectively. You had a couple of tools, right? Know where you are. Put a name to it and start to regulate what that looks like. Start to take your time and say, okay, I'm knowledgeable or I'm aware. I'm aware of my emotions right now. I'm aware. And you know what? I need to take a step back. When they talk about breathing and counting to 10, or start asking yourself questions. I'm only speaking from experience, right? You can chime in and let me know. I'm speaking from experience. I'm saying I'm upset and I'm taking it out on my kids and they don't deserve it. So how aware am I of that? So now we're talking about increasing our self-awareness. And that's what I'm talking about. So how do you increase your self-awareness, right? This is one of them things where, man, you can absolutely contact me on that because that's my specialty. It's helping people increase their self-awareness, especially leaders, especially principals, right? Especially teachers. How do you increase your self-awareness? Sometimes we don't know how to do that and we won't even admit it. But I'm telling you, I'm going to take you on a flight and teach you how to be more self-aware internally and externally. You might be internally aware and you know how you are, you know your feelings, but as soon as you get into that classroom, as soon as you get into that building, as soon as you get into that school, all these things are happening. You really can't. So you start doing it your way. And your way doesn't always work. And so now, what is it like for those who are around you and how they're experiencing you? Oh, come on. Do you know how to handle that? Let me tell you. I got a framework for you, baby. I got something for you that'll help you figure that out. You got to take the assessment. You got to take flight and take the assessment and start figuring out how to be more aware, especially of your emotions, because you have permission to feel. You do. You do. So check this out. I'm gonna give you this quote right here. This is from Dr. Brackett himself. He says, "Hurt feelings don't vanish on their own. They don't. They don't heal themselves. If we don't express our emotions, guess what? They will pile up like a debt and eventually come due. So go ahead. Keep on suppressing your emotions and not expressing your emotions and watch what happens. Keep on. Just keep doing it and watch what happens. It's going to come due. And you have to pay. Another one. Another quote of the day. When we give ourselves permission to feel all of our emotions, we become less attached, less reactive, and less overwhelmed by them. Let me tell you, I'm not perfect, but I promise you, my emotions can get the best of me, and I'm emotionally wired. So I thrive off the emotions. But as soon as I start overusing my emotions and being overwhelmed by them, I start making mistakes. I start having limitations. I stop working. I'm not focused. I'm not effective. Regulating your emotions is a thing. Communicating your emotions is a thing. So find out how to label them. Use the ruler technique to figure it out. I'm doing this because I love you and I know what you're going through. Because I've been going through it. And we've been doing this work. And it's not easy work. So let's figure out how to best manage our emotions. Let's figure out how to best use our emotions. And worst case scenario, let's use this ruler method to guide our thoughts, guide our actions, and to help us lead ourselves a lot better. Go pick up the book Permission to Feel, by Dr. Mark Brackett. If you like Brene Brown, they're in where they work together. They got a podcast. But this is social emotional learning work. And this is the work that we're doing. This is the work that's needed right now in schools. But it's needed for you. Dr. McGee, man, listen, this is just a pep talk. You have permission to feel. You have permission to feel everything that you do feel. But you're also a leader. And you're mature. And so find ways to express your feelings so that you can be the most effective you. All right. I love you. Thanks for showing up. I hope this was a pep talk for you. If not, send it to somebody. We're going to do this every week. It's time for a pep talk. And we're going to do them live. Once I get it figured out, we're going to do them live. Man, I can get the comments up here and people who are here chatting with me. But we got to figure out what Facebook is doing, man. I don't know. Instagram, I think we good. YouTube, we're good. But I'm telling you, let's stop running from the things that we need and start facing those things so that we can become better, so that we can lead ourselves, and so we can lead those that are in our care every single day. I believe in you. I see greatness in you, and I love you, and I want the best for all of us. Let's make it a great day, make it a great night, and I'll see you in about a week.